Chris Murphy, and we're going to roll. Before we begin with our posted agenda, I would like a motion to amend the agenda. Specifically, I'd like to add as our final agenda item an executive session pursuant to one Vermont statutes annotated 313 subsection A1D, please, which allows us to discuss in executive session grievances other than tax grievances. So I entertain a motion to add that to the agenda, please. We'll call it first and second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions, and it carries. Thank you. For the benefit of Richard, our minute, we have Jeff Leake, who's present via the online platform. We have myself, Glenn, Ricardo, Stephanie, Cindy, and Sandy. I'm sorry. Yes, but July was long apparently. And Sandy. And no members of the public are present here in the room with us, Richard. So that brings us to our agenda. And so the first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you so choose, I would invite you to rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item number 2 is public comments. Again, we have nobody here from the public, so we can skip by that. The consent agenda was published. It includes a number of nominations, so we're definitely in hiring season right now. 2 resignations, one of whom was moving on to different employment, one who just said thanks for the opportunity and she's moving on. Also, we had the minutes from our June meeting included. Richard sent those out, I think, just in the last week. So I guess, first of all, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as published, please. Thanks, Glenn. Do we have a second? Thanks, Sandy. Any discussion about approving the consent agenda?
I do just want to make sure that there is a feature at Monument in Maui. Yes. I'll ask our superintendent and then I'll ask in a broader sense.
Still one of the open positions.
And are there how many other open positions are
It's found in my report.
Okay, perfect. Hold on.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I just have a question. I'm
Sure.
undecided what is I don't understand what a family engagement specialist is.
So I think in part, and the superintendent can fill me in what I might leave out, the family engagement specialists are mostly, if not primarily, concerned with outreach to families where truancy is an issue, making contact with families in their homes, help assess what some of the barriers to school attendance might be, help set up services and supports if need be to help foster their student attendance.
They are not new positions. We've had them funded under ESSER. So these people have been here for multiple years, but the funding source is changing on these positions going into the budget. Where they were paid.
Out of the education budget.
Yes.
I'll save my question on that later.
Okay.
And just a quick question too. This is Jeff. Is that the same for the art therapist? Did that go from an ESSER fund to a
Yes.
budget? Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion?
Is the check register part of the consent agenda or part of finance?
No, we'll cover that later.
Okay.
Okay. Great. If there are no other comments or questions, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, and it carries. We have operations on our consent agenda. I don't see Director Anderson here, but do you have anything to fill us in?
No, nothing that, but I will address some building issues in my report.
Yeah. All right, very good. So that brings us to finance. And so there is the treasurer's report that has been published. It's in the board packet, as a matter of fact. Do you have questions about the losing not only your name, but I'm losing my vocabulary, for what we call when we pay all the bills, that thing that we
And
sign.
who I tried to, the check register?
Yes,
I just
that's what
had
it's called.
just one.
Yes.
I promise, I'll keep it simple. There is a, DreamWorks bagger for $24,000 that was purchased, and it looks, or maybe it's a riding lawnmower, a 60-inch riding lawnmower, could be either. And because it surpassed the typical amount for multiple bids, I was curious on this purchase.
Okay, I can't speak to that. Superintendent Colkeen?
Are
you able to,
Without
please?
the director of finance here, what line are you referring to, Sandy?
I
I
can-
can get an answer.
Absolutely, it's page 2, and I actually, highlighted it.
24, the FY 24.
It's
Page two.
page 2 down at the bottom.
Mhm.
We've got, there's a 24,300 and a 32,779.
32 is a total of everything. That's
The
not
32, okay, so the
That's
24,
We did that, Bill, I believe that's the electric lawnmower that they purchased. For 24,000, but I'd have to verify
yeah,
that.
it was just it was over that threshold for where it needed multiple bids.
No, 24,000 is under.
That was. In
I
order to
believe it's
get,
40.
oh,
I had it circled too.
oh,
I believe that's changed.
great. It's a lot of
Yeah.
money.
And I'm not saying that they didn't get multiple quotes for it. I wouldn't have that information here, but it's not under the requirement to go out to bid. But we do still do good, solid business practices for multiple quotes, but I would not have that here. But I can get that information to you.
Thanks.
So Superintendent Colkeen, you'll follow up with Director Green on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other discussions now that we're on finance? Okay, moving right along. There was no policy meeting in July, but I'm sure Sandy is going to well represent this board on that policy committee. Thank you very much. And I don't know what, if anything, the SVSU did over the summertime, so I don't even know if there's an SVSU report.
Yes, we talked about how we needed to change a few of the policies, and we made recommendations to the policy committee. Ensure that our superintendent is given a fair and equitable evaluation. The tool that had been used for quite some time was outdated, not only by the list of the schools, but also just in the content itself. So over the summer, we have been working on constructing a policy so that we can present it to the policy board, who can present it to all of the member boards. So, what we talked about.
Okay. Very good. Anything else we should be aware of from the SVSU?
I didn't do
I
it.
think we awarded that we agreed that we should continue our superintendent in his current position.
That was like a June meeting.
That was our
That's why I'm
last,
having such.
yeah, but that is our last.
Yes.
Ages ago.
Yeah, it was ages ago. That was a wonderful piece as well.
Okay, very good. All right. In record time, Superintendent Colkeen, we're to your agenda. Your agenda, item. Your report, please.
So, the Union Elementary School District hiring and vacancies, how many vacancies do we have today? Woodford has a 0.1 half day per week librarian opening that still needs to be filled. That, I'm told, is right now, so the art may be in process. Sandy, so I'm told that's the only current opening in the Union Elementary, other than we're still hiring a few general ed, special education, paraprofessional vacancies. How many positions have been filled? There was 18 positions filled in total, which is a little low for the Union Elementary District this year. I mean, it's a good news hiring. Your principals and HR had a busy summer. So of that 18, there was 12 teachers, counselors, or librarians, 2 new campus safety officers, which had been approved in the budget, 2 behavior intervention support positions, 1 secretary, 1 maintenance position. In the SVSU budget, there are some vacancies for the Union Elementary School District that we're still trying to fill. We're short 1 board certified behavior analyst for Molly Stark, 1 behavior coach, Molly Stark, though there is an offer pending for that currently. And the math coach position in Pownell is still open. So compared to where we've been other summers at this point, good hiring, I think we benefited from, let me address some of those positions that I think we did a tremendous job of not losing staff who have been funding under ESSER as we built our budget last year. We didn't move every position, but anything that we felt was essentially vital to get moved into the budget and the budget process survive. So again, thank you for the voters of the school districts for supporting the school budget and filling those positions. But where we did benefit, where we saw some hiring is school districts, particularly in Massachusetts, we had some people fleeing over the border from layoffs in larger school districts in Massachusetts. So certainly some experienced talent that came on. So not exclusively new hires without any experience. So, and considering some of the complex challenges that we have, I'm grateful for that. Any other question on positions? And I'll be sure I move on to another topic. Do you have something there, Cindy?
The only thing that bothers me, our education budget is going up. And I look around and I see all these people that work, and I'm not saying we don't need them. I just think we shouldn't, the bill should not be coming to us. It should be somebody else. Like this family management, I mean, there's tons of them. I went online and I got back on the board and could not believe the number of people that work for Pownell that I don't even know, because they're all specialists, special for this, special for that. And to me, like I said, we do need them. I'm sure we need them. It's just that I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers that it's on the backside of the taxpayers. Because teachers, I don't mind, we pay for that. It goes part of the school. All these other people, they should be paid through a different system. And they're growing every year. They're growing. And the state increased our taxes by 13 to 14%, the education. And I know a lot of the boards up north, they didn't pass their budget.
Mm-hmm.
Ours was passed. When they get their tax bill next week, they're gonna be sad. Just, we just keep adding and adding and adding. And just, to me, there should be some way that we can spread that money out to somebody else.
Is there a specific sort of pathway you have in mind, Cindy?
Well, not particular, I guess. I haven't researched it enough, but I just know all of a sudden it's on the backside of the taxpayers, and it's getting worse. And if we don't say something now, it's gonna continue. I think it should be researched and figure out where else can this money come from, other than the backside of the taxpayers.
Yeah, and I know for the last 4 years at this point, a lot of these positions were being funded by federal grants, related to COVID relief specifically.
Right.
But because the need didn't go away, just because the funding went away,
Right.
we as a board made the decision to support the requests from our building principals to advocate for that.
Particularly in the area of social emotional needs of students. and the challenges that we're seeing in our schools that we never saw before. So yeah, there has been a growth.
And I'm not saying we don't need that.
Oh,
No, I just think we should find a way to channel the money somewhere else.
Well, you gave me a great lead into my next point. So I don't know if you all saw the memo that came out jointly from VASBO, the VSA, and the Vermont School Board Association. If not, I'd be happy. I think all school board members got it, but the superintendent association. So I say memo, tongue in cheek, because it's 12 pages long. And, you know, I've done one full reading of it, but I'm going to need more of a slow read. And we're also going to share it with our principals as we start to get into budget season, because it really outlines the challenges. And you mentioned that, I think why it came out now is because tax bills are hitting at this time. The challenges that the Vermont state education system is facing. And, you know, it has statistics in it that probably come up during budget season. It talks about some things not new, some things that go back old when Rebecca Holcomb was the Secretary of Education, but talking about staffing levels in Vermont schools compared to other New England states. How many of it is because of the challenges of smaller schools, rural schools, but I think it's Vermont in this memo says it's 4.4 staff members per student, which is the lowest ratio in all of New England. So there's a lot to read in it, a lot to show. I want you to know that we will be sharing with principals as we go into budget season, which is right around the corner. And then we will, but I'll send it out. I hate to double up your emails, but I'll pull it out and send it. So it'll be on the top of your pile. And I plan to, you know, it came out either yesterday afternoon or early this morning. Like I said, I only did one reading, but I need to go more slowed up. It's well done, contains a lot of information, a lot of cautions, challenges. Talks about the committee that the state has put together to look at the future of education in Vermont.
Yeah, it looks like it was just sent out this morning. It's the Vermont School Board Association.
Yeah, I received it.
Yeah.
So we should
I
have
will-
it today.
Where would I get it?
In your email, in front, it says school district budgeting resource from the Vermont School Board Association.
I got it from Vermont School Boards Association. And Renee forwarded me because Vasco sent it out too, so the Vermont School Board. I think I want to make sure everyone is reading it as we go into the next budget cycle. So what else have we been doing besides hiring and already looking? Was last week was our Summer Leadership Academy. We always did a summer leadership retreat, and this year I changed the name for administrators. What we gather for 2 days every summer, and I made the decision. The summer leadership retreat, the SVUESD Summer Retreat for Leaders, or whatever, sounded like we're all laying by the pool in the sun, and instead of being in class for 2 days. And I think it was I would think this right. I thought it was a very successful Leadership Academy. We are at the Williams Inn in Williamstown for 2 days. And it focused on 2 areas. And who attends this? All our principals, all our vice principals, all our directors, all our assistant directors, the assistant superintendent, myself. The topics this year focused on 2 things. The title, All Things Data, which is going to be the focus of our administrative meetings this year, analyzing data, using data. And then, as it is every year, legal updates. So we had 2 guest speakers. The first was Bob Stafford, recently of the Vermont Agency of Education. He just retired, but he had committed to come speak to us before he retired, and he honored that. Bob is someone that, and I don't know who's going to replace him yet, but Bob's job at the Agency of Education, anyone who holds an educator's license gets into a little bit of trouble, or I have to report to Bob that, John Smith was accused of something and I put him on paid administrative leave. Bob did those investigations for the Agency of Education. So very insightful communication to administrators about scenarios that different teachers have gotten into. Of course, everything's redacted, and getting our administrators to think how they would react to these situations, what we should do, all to keep our staff safe and moving forward and professional. And then SVSU attorney Dina Atwood attended, and she spoke to, it's always a lively question and answer period with Dina. But first it was, she gave a presentation on changes in educational law that came from the last session, and particularly focusing on Title IX and HHB for our administrators, which is dominating more and more of their time. So very time well spent with Dina, always, and always. Any of you who have met our attorney, it's always entertaining. So she keeps it lively. So that was day one. And then we actually did a legal statutes game that we try to do something more fun at the end of each day. So I don't know if you've ever seen the Vermont Green Law books that come out every year. So we have copies for everyone. Ask one, every principal in a copy. And then they were given a 2-page sheet that they had to select 5 from and find the statute. And then there were different things like explain to a parent what this means, explain to the principal, explain to the superintendent, give a presentation on these different statutes. And then the final challenge was to find the most obscure statute related to education that you could find and present it to the group. So that again made it. And day 2 then and always begins with a fun activity, which was planned by our assistant superintendent on day 2 that involved, as you may guess, getting everybody up in physical activity, and games were held before then we got into a deep study of policy updates for all our administrators to hear what policies have been updated and what may be coming, and then spent the rest of that morning, all things data continued, and training with that, and a small group activities by schools done, analyzing and looking at the data of your students' performance. And I said that is going to continue at our monthly press meetings. And then we always end with a team building activity. In the years we've done the superintendent's annual miniature golf tournament. I think Sandy might have won that one. We've done scavenger hunts. We've done painting classes. Last year, we had Lynn Sweet from the high school come and created the All Administrators Chorus. And we all had to sing a song to get you. This year, we were at the Black Art Institute, and it was team building activity. Everyone had a clipboard of describing certain paintings that you're going to have to find and document it on your sheet. And there were prizes for which team got done first. There also were the bonus prizes were for anyone who could find the most paintings that had cows and the most paintings that had ships. And if I remember correctly, I think there was like 127 paintings that had ships and 21 that had cows. So that ended it with fun, because all things data can be a little hard to take all day. And we met with all the principals and directors, assistant principals today here as a follow-up to that activity to continue that. So, and that will be ongoing. We're going to do a bigger one in the middle of the year just to keep, because professional learning, not just for our teachers, but for our administrators is important. We can't make the assumption that they know everything, and everything is constantly changing. So don't agree. School readiness. Dr. Anderson isn't here tonight. I asked her though for her September meeting to give a full report on the progress that's going on at all our schools. Based on my observations today, I think all our schools will be ready to open. There's a lot of construction going on in all our schools, right? So the elevator is basically done, but is awaiting testing, and something about, the elevator that they call it a fireman's phone. They need the number for that. So I'm told that they don't have the number, so that's holding up the official testing of the elevator. So I don't know if that'll be open from the start of school, but hopefully the construction zone part of it is already breaking down. There's new flooring in some of our schools, new cubbies. I've asked her to prepare a full report and maybe some photos for your September meeting. The Pownell Elementary, the crew that we had there stripping years and years of wax and cleaning, and they look spectacular. So I do, every school's had like ventilation updates. I know the high school, middle school is not your domain, but major construction projects going on there too. This is all, we're up against the clock. We got to have it spent by September because this was ESSER funds that is paying for all or almost all of this construction. And then next year, as we enter the budget process, that will be a real challenge because we're not going to have all this federal money. But Director Anderson is working, on the task that I've wanted done for a long time, is a multi-year plan. So as we budget priority to our aging buildings for what needs to be done. Big jump start with this federal funds, but there's still a lot to do, and we have to protect these assets because I don't see where there will be funds to replace any of them. The chair reminded me about the NESDEC study, which is the New England School Development Council. We have not met. I anticipate that once, as I have people returning from vacations this week, all hands were pretty much on deck this week. We will be reaching out to set a date with the board members and the administrators who will be serving. We have not had our first meeting yet on that.
Have you received responses from people in the community that wanted to join and formed a committee? Remember, we were talking about.
Yeah,
community
I
members.
believe I only have one email from a community member at this point, so. But if anyone's listening and want to, send us an email. Mention the budget now, building readiness. Last thing I want to say is just, we open, teachers here August 26th and teachers and staff here August 26th, August 27th. All students return through ninth graders on the 28th, because the high school only opens with ninth graders, and on the 29th, everyone will be in school. And summer will be officially over.
After July 4th.
Not July 4th, no. And I will say this, I just want you to add, so we're at the Williams, and they didn't know what we were doing. The staff did not know what we were doing for the team building activity. So when I announced that the Art Institute had informed us that parking was limited, we had a superintendent saying to those gathered, so I want to warn you that we've been informed that parking at the Clark Art Institute is limited.
I was noting the lack of R's when you said where you went for the, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a pause as I said it, and then.
Very good. What questions do we have for our superintendent?
Well, I have one, you talked a lot, that the facilities director will be coming back to give us some information and
Yeah.
updates. And that there will be a lot of data that will be reviewed and hopefully come back to us. And I am
Starting
hoping,
at your September meeting, you will have the first of those rounds of that curriculum. And the curriculum team will be at your September meeting.
and I'm hoping that we can have whatever handouts that they have prior to them presenting, so that we have a chance to review it before we actually see it. That would be one question, one request. That would be both for facilities and for data. And then the other piece is I'm hoping that we can review some of the MAPS data so that we have an idea of overall grade wise for our entire SVUESD, that where the students are and where they're starting off. It's been a long road from COVID, and I'm hoping that this is the year that kicks in and that we're all extremely happy with progress.
Any requests?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that brings us to the chair's report, and there is not much to report. The staff here at central office it never feels like there's really a lull, a period of lull for them. So July, I think, is the closest they get to that, but otherwise we get into testing season, then we get into budget preparation season, then we get into voting for the budget season, then we get to wrapping up for the end of school year stuff, and then there's all the planning that goes into the beginning of summertime. And so very hopeful that July was restful for our central office staff, because they certainly put the hours in the rest of the year. So hopefully that took care of that. And I'm looking forward to our September meeting and hearing about all the wonderful first days of school back for all of us, for all of our kids. And yeah, hopefully it was a restful and rejuvenating summer for everyone. So we have a few things. Oh, you do need to, I think we need to approve the donation, even though it's not on the,
The information is there.
yeah, the information is in the packet. Typically, I'm used to seeing donations in the finance part of it. So let me just pull up the packet so we can specify exactly what it is we're having donated.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead. While I pull it up, Cindy, go ahead and ask the question.
I'm just curious, my question is, now that we're in one district, how does this grant help other buildings? Did they have to apply, like Benel applied, or how did it work?
I do not have that answer, whether Ben Howard applied or they reached out to Ben Howard. And I don't know if it was limited to Bennington schools or not. I just know what you have in front of you.
I know you say limited to Bennington schools, but we're all one now.
I understand
So it
that, but
should not be just Bennington.
should we
schools.
not accept it because it's only going to Bennington Elementary would be the question.
I'm not saying deny it, I'm just saying I'm sure Pownell has some children that are
Sure.
in dire need as well as Benel.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, if it's something that Pownell should be applying for.
I
then
can't
would-
remember what, but there is something that Pownell gets from Williams College that the other schools don't get, so. Equity does not always mean everything is equal for everyone, right? So I don't have
No,
control
that's
over
what I'm here
grants
for, to
that,
Represent Pownell,
Yeah.
so.
no, I thought we could represent all schools.
I mean, my take on it has always been this, Cindy, that if someone from central office is applying for funds for our schools, then those funds should be distributed equally amongst all of our schools. But if the community is doing the outreach to an individual school, great. If that relationship can be fostered and our schools can get a little something out of it, then wonderful. At the same time, if there are staff appointed to specific buildings and they do outreach for donations, I'm also okay with that. I think your point is well taken, and I think we could all do well with the reminder that we are truly all in this together, and that's the idea of the unified school district. This case, I presumed, based on the superintendent's kind of lack of specific knowledge about this, my guess is either Burger King reached out to Benel or someone within Benel reached out to Burger King when they learned of an opportunity. Any other discussion about this? We're getting out of the Robert's Rules flow of things, but I guess first, let me just ask, can I have a motion to accept this donation, please, from the Burger King Foundation? Thank you, Sandy. Do we have a second on that? Thank you, Stephanie. So now, any further questions or conversation about accepting this donation? Okay, so hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the donation from the Burger King Foundation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so it carries. Okay, so that exhausts our posted agenda, but we did add the executive session ahead of time. I would say for Richard, and I would say for anyone else who might be watching online, I do not anticipate there being any action that this board will take afterwards. So if you want to tune out now, you won't be missing anything exciting. So I would entertain a motion, please, to enter into executive session and to invite our superintendent. Thanks, Cindy. We have a second on that, please? Thanks, Ricardo. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as explained, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay. Seeing Jeff shake, I missed your hand or I missed your eye, Jeff, one way or the other. Either way, you're outvoted. So the motion passes, and we will now move into executive session. Exiting executive session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we're good with that. Having exhausted our agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So quick second, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, extensions, motion carries. We're done. Thanks, everyone.